Hi, this is Ken. This spiritual video is called The Spectrum of Enlightenment. We are born enlightened. And what that means is we are born with the full understanding that there is a spirit, a piece of God, our higher self that is present within each of us. And with this knowledge, all the knowledge of the universe is present. Our peace of God that is within us and within every other person and life form represents pure, unconditional love that is meant to be shared to use to help each person in its journey through life. But with our birth, our ego is formed. And our ego is everything we learn and believe to be true about what we were taught. And what happens with the birth of our ego and with our acceptance, especially in the first 5 years of our life when we are most affected, is that the messages from the spirit within, though present, are quieted. They are muted as we follow the direction of our ego and its beliefs through life. Now, the ego and the spirit are quite opposite. The ego's only concern is for you and what is best for you personally. And it has very little concern for anything else. Whereas the spirit, the peace of God that is present within us and within all other forms of life and every other person, its concern is what is best for all, understanding that only together, by helping each other selflessly, will we truly find meaning in our life. There is a spectrum of enlightenment. If you picture on one side, all the way, picture a line, and on the left side of that line, and on the right side of that line is the spirit or enlightenment. The more you believe in everything that you were taught and accept as true, the closer to the left side of that line to pure ego you will be. So as you are brought up, we are taught to believe that we are the most important thing, and that what we must do in order to live a good and have a meaningful life is to make a lot of money, get a good job, buy a lot of material things, be able to do all the good things that life offers. Perhaps to have a family, a nice house, car, travel, go to restaurants, and everything else that we were told would make our life important. Perhaps we would like to become famous or hold a very prestigious job or any of the thousands of other comparisons that we were taught would give our life purpose. The more you believe that and are focused on yourself, the closer to the left side of that line to the egoistic beliefs you will be. And by doing so, the more muted the messages from the spirit within are. Though the spirit is still there and will always accompany you, the peace of God will always be there, representing our higher self. Its messages will be quieted the further and the closer to the left side of that line to pure ego that we are. But very often, and this happens often at midlife, though could happen at any time during your life, we begin to get a queasy, uneasy feeling within us. Though we may be successful in life, we may be wealthy or have enough money in order to have nice material possessions and do a lot of good things that we and achieve the goals that we had set for ourselves. This feeling begins to gnaw at us that there is more to life than just all the things that we learned would make our lives happy and meaningful. Though we may be wealthy, have big houses, be able to do everything we were told would make our life meaningful, there is a feeling within that perhaps there is more to life than just everything we were told. This is the beginning of an awakening. And awakening is simply the first messages of the Spirit, the peace of God that is within you, that is present to try to give your life meaning by sharing its unconditional message of selfless love and helping all others in their journey through life without reason or cause. That is the purpose of life. And with the first knowledge that there may be more to life than just what we understood it to be and what we were taught, rather, that is when we awaken and we begin to travel along the spectrum of enlightenment from the left side of the line, where we don't hear any of the messages whatsoever from our spirit, toward the right side of the line, where we are enlightened and understand that the true meaning of life is to share our peace of God lovingly, selflessly with all others who also have a piece of God, so that everyone may succeed in life. That is what enlightenment is. So in between the two extremes is the spectrum of enlightenment. As the cracks that the ego erected to control and to mute the messages of our spirit within get broader or wider, we start to travel further along that line as we begin to realize that we must make changes in our life, because there is more to life than just being wealthy and having material possessions and a family and all of those other things. As those cracks widen, we begin to reevaluate our life. We may begin to reevaluate our job, which again often happens at mid-age, though could happen at any age, where we may realize that there is more to life than just making a lot of money. We may decide we may need to change careers, even if it means making less money and being less successful. It may mean changing to a job where we are able to actively help other people rather than just worry about only ourselves. We also begin to reevaluate our relationships with other people who are on the left side of the line, where we may be in the middle of the spectrum toward enlightenment now. They still remain much further on the left side of the line, closer to the egoistic beliefs, where their messages from their spirit have not yet been heard. So we may reevaluate our relationships with people who are more asleep or closer to the ego part of the line than they are toward the enlightenment part of the spectrum. Everything in life has to do with reevaluating our lives. Once we awaken, we may never return to the left side of the line. We may return a little closer to it, but our messages will never, ever be completely muted again. The meaning of life is to completely break down the barriers that the ego have erected around our spirit, our peace of God within, allowing us to travel along the spectrum of enlightenment, further toward enlightenment, understanding that the true purpose of life is to share our peace of God with all others who also have a piece of God, a higher self present within them, to help every life succeed in life. At this point in our life, if we reach this point of enlightenment, though our ego will remain with us, its messages will be quite muted, just as the messages when we were on the left side of the line with the ego dominating were messages. When we are become enlightened and truly embrace this viewpoint of life, our messages of the ego, though they are present, are now behind a barrier as we follow our spiritual path through life. And by doing so, and embracing our enlightenment and our spirit, our peace of God within, and sharing it selflessly with all others, we will have discovered our true purpose, the meaning of our life. And by doing so, we will have understood the purpose of life and our journey through it. Until next time, this is Ken with another spiritual video.